Joining Counterpoints for a special interview is Ayalon. He spent nearly 40 years working as a public servant for the State of Israel. He was the former Commander-in-Chief of Israel's Navy and also served as the head of Israel's domestic secret service, Shin Bet. Mr. Ayalon, thank you for talking to Counterpoints. You and your former security service colleagues wrote an open letter to US President Donald Trump on March 11, saying that the Gaza war no longer serves Israel's national objectives. Can you explain your position and why you and your colleagues felt so compelled to write what was a very impassioned letter?
Well, first of all, the immediate reason was the hostages. We still have hostages in somewhere in the tunnels, and they are dying every day. And I think that for us Israelis, we believe that the old concept, we rely on each other. So we cannot define the essence of victory unless we should bring them back. But in addition, when we try to understand the whole idea of this war, it started after the 7th of October in 23. It was a just war. It was a war of defense, and we reacted against horror and violence used by Hamas. But after between 6 to 8 months, the way we understand the battlefield, we achieved all the military goals. The problem with this war is that from the very beginning, our leaders, our political leaders, did not define any political goal to this war. Now, after almost 40 years of experience, and I'm studying, the concept of war until today, I know exactly what happens to a war that we launch without any political goal. The war becomes the end and not the mean in order to achieve a better reality. And this is exactly what we see. We are conquering several places for the fourth time. We are destroying, we are killing innocent people. And, you can explain something only if you understand what we are wishing. What is the day after? Now, other governments, this government, do not define the day after. And since they do not define the day after, we have to stop this war.
You said that when it started, it was a just war. Does that mean you no longer think it is a just war? And where, for you, was that turning point?
The turning point, first of all, I said from the first day that to go to war without a clear definition of the political goal is a huge mistake. But as all of us understood, it was a war of defense. It was a reaction against the horror and the violence that we never could understand until today. But the way we understand this war, it took us several months. Some people will tell you 8 months, some people will tell you 12 months. But we are fighting for the last 18, 19 months. We achieved all the military goals, which is to destroy the military capability of Hamas. Hamas are not acting as a military unit. They are acting because they are terrorists, but there is no way to eliminate all Hamas activists. We have to understand what we are facing is a very, very violent ideology.
So do you believe then that effectively...
we shall kill. Sorry?
Do you believe effectively then that Hamas has been defeated in Gaza?
From the military point of view, yes. We can measure it. And they do not act as an organization. They control the area because we did not create somebody, or we did not do anything in order to create somebody to replace them. And everything starts because there is no definition to the day after. And there is no definition to the day after because the Israeli society is divided. because in order to decide on the day after, some people in this government will tell you, unless we shall occupy Gaza and we shall build settlements in Gaza, we do not have the right to end this war. The majority of the Israelis do not agree. The majority of the Israelis, between 70 to 80% of the Israelis, are telling to our government every day we have to bring back all our hostages and to end this war.
You mentioned there the day after. There was no plan for the day after. You are a career military man. You've worked under 3 different prime ministers, I believe. Have you ever worked under a commander-in-chief, so to speak, who went into a conflict without a day after plan?
Yes, unfortunately, it happened exactly during the first Intifada and the second Intifada. Many people in Israel will tell you that we are still fighting the 6-day war. And it's very complicated. I don't think that in 5-10 minutes I will be able to explain to the audience the idea that most, we as admirals, commanders, whatever, we used to think, by the way, it's a huge mistake, that the political leaders should define the day after, and it is not our problem. Our problem is how to operate and know why are we doing it. We used to think that we have to rely on our leaders. This is the first time when we understand, or at least we believe, that the reasons of our political leaders do not serve the future of the state of Israel and do not serve the future of the people of Israel, because they do not tell us what is the day after. The day after is a reason why we are ready to fight, why we are killing, and why many of us are ready to die.
Do you think that there are many current Israeli soldiers who share your sentiment, that they feel like they're fighting a war that now doesn't need to be fought, and that perhaps this is an aimless and deadly obsession?
Look, I served too many years to think that this is the reality. Unfortunately, I think, and I know it happened to me when I was in the military service for many years. I think that for a soldier, it is almost impossible to think that his leaders do not think on why they are sending him to war. He cannot believe that his leaders are doing it for political reasons. I think that you can understand it only when you see it from outside. I'm 80 years old. I think that I'm old enough to understand. I've been in politics. I saw politicians. It happened not only in Israel. I think that politicians are sometimes sacrificing the future of the state in order to make sure that they will stay in power.
Do you think then that there are going to be some very disappointed and very disillusioned soldiers when they do come out of this and they do get some perspective?
I think that, yes, I think that most Israelis understand that when this war will end, only then we shall be able to see clearly what happened to us since the beginning of the war, of this war, what happened to us as human beings, and what happened to us as the Israeli society. And are we closer to a better reality, or are we not? It's too early.
Are you disappointed that US President Donald Trump isn't visiting Israel on his current tour of the Middle East? Does it give you and perhaps the Israeli community the impression that he's more interested in making headline deals than he is in ending the war?
Look, I used to say that, psychology department belongs to my wife and not to me and our family. But still, I'm not in a position to judge the American president. I believe I did not elect him. I have no right to vote in America. I am only an Israeli citizen. The way I understand him, he is doing what he thinks is good for the American interest. And I quite understand you, whether I like it as an Israeli or no, it's not the question. As an American president, he believes that he should achieve stability in this region. I think that the only to do it is to fly to Saudi Arabia and to try to persuade Saudis to go forward and to try to achieve a nuclear deal with Iran instead of going into a new war. And this is the way he understands the reality. This is the way he understands the Middle East. And I don't think that he's wrong.
Do you think, though, how is it being portrayed domestically in Israel, though? There was this big hope that after the difficulties, perhaps, that Netanyahu faced under the presidency of Joe Biden, that Donald Trump returning to the White House gave the Israeli community the feeling that the full support of the US would be returning militarily, diplomatically. Domestically, are people still feeling that way? Or is there a sense that they're feeling abandoned?
Again, Israel is a divided society. And I think that most people from outside, when they see us, they do not understand the rifts between the Israeli tribes. Many Israelis were very happy when Trump was elected because they used to believe that from now on, we will be able to do everything, and nobody will limit us, and he will support us, whatever we shall do. I didn't think so. And I think I even wrote several articles about it, explaining that finally, the way I understand the American president, if I have to predict, he will adopt the vision of Biden, but he will use another ideas in order to execute it. And if you ask me, this is the way I understand what he's doing now. The problem is that our leaders do not understand it and are not playing part. They are out of the game. So when he will go, he came to the, it's the first, after Obama, he is the only president, and even before Obama, who came to the Middle East and did not visit Israel as part of his visit. So I think that the Israeli government made almost every mistake. And we are isolated, not only in the world, but in the Middle East as well. It's not too late to change this course of action. And I want to believe that with the pressure from the international community, and especially if we shall understand, if the Saudis and the Egyptians and the Jordanians and the American president will tell us loud and clear, this is the future that all of us offer, a coalition, or a coalition that will bring, a regional coalition that will bring Saudis, Egyptians, all the stable states of this region. And we shall create the economy, we shall ensure our board, etc. It's a totally different future. I think that the Israeli society will have to listen. And this is a democracy. Finally, this coalition will not survive forever.
Speaking of the coalition, Israel's Security Cabinet recently approved its expanded offensive into Gaza. And Prime Minister Netanyahu has once again vowed that even though his team is heading to Qatar for negotiations, this war will not end. Do you think this expanded plan and the potential occupation of Gaza was always Netanyahu's plan?
Look, again, I have no idea what his plan is. The way I understand him, his plan is to do everything in order to survive in power, and not in order to conquer or to go on in this war. But I'm not thinking too much about Netanyahu. I'm thinking about what should we do in order to create a better reality. And a better reality for me, I'm not thinking too much about the Palestinians or the Saudis or Jordanians. I'm thinking about us, Israelis. And I'm trying to explain to us, Israelis, to come to an agreement with the Palestinians and creating a reality of two states, even if it will take 10 or 20 years. This should be the vision, not because we owe them something, because unless we do it, Israel will not be a Jewish democracy, and Israel will not be safe. So I think that when I speak about the future is something very, very simple. A safe, Jewish, democratic state. In order to do it, we have to divide this piece of land. It belongs to us, but it is belong to them as well. So the only way in order not to lose our identity and our security is to divide this piece of land, based, by the way, on the Arab Peace Initiative. This is what I believe in. I think that if this voice will be heard from the international community and from the Saudis and the Egyptians and Jordanians, I think that we shall understand.
There has been some speculation that the US is ready to openly recognize a Palestinian state. Do you think that's likely, and what sort of a difference would that make?
I have no idea what America are planning, what the American president is playing, and I cannot tell you, by the way, what will be the impact.
Would that sort of leadership, though, from the US create more momentum?
Look, I remember that when he was elected for the first time, he said, I have no idea, both sides will have to decide. When he ended, after achieving a great achievement, the Abraham Accord, he came with the Abraham Accord. We tend to forget that was achieved only in order to stop annexation. Now, what happened, we achieved peace with the Emirates, but we did not stop the annexation. So I think that when he left, when he finished his first term, he spoke about two states. Whether it was exactly the way Palestinians or we saw it, when he decided that the Jerusalem is the Israeli capital, the Jewish capital, I said, if in addition he could say that if and when we shall achieve peace with the Palestinians, they will have the Arab neighborhoods of East Jerusalem as the Palestinian capital. So, but he didn't do it. I think that today he understands that without discussing the Palestinian conflict on the table, Palestinians exist not because we love it or not. It is a real factor in the Middle East. And we have to understand, if we want to create stability in the Middle East, this is what we have to do. We have to sit and to negotiate on a future that will give a political horizon to us and to the Palestinians.
If there is a situation, your letter that you wrote criticised the occupation of the West Bank as exacerbating the situation. If there is occupation in Gaza as well, in a security setting, do you think there will ever be any end to the infighting?
I don't think so. I think that we, by the Middle East, but especially us, we are facing a T-junction. There are only two exits. One is to ignite a process, to create normalization and this regional coalition on the condition that we shall ignite a process of the negotiations with the Palestinians on a future reality of two states based on the Arab Peace Initiative. The other exit is that we shall not do it, And I think that this war will not end. I think that our problem as Israelis, we see Palestinians as people, but we do not accept the idea that they see themselves as a people. And many of them in the West Bank are fighting not in order to bring bread to their children, but in order to achieve freedom and end of occupation. So I think that the other exit will bring us more violence and never-ending war.
The US has flagged, perhaps for the first time, that Hamas could play a role in Gaza post-war if it demilitarizes. In a security sense, given your expertise, do you think Hamas could and should be allowed to remain as a political party?
No. Hamas is not part of the game. I think that people do not understand what is Hamas all about. And we see the military wing, Azadin al-Qassam. Hamas is not only its military wing. Hamas is, first of all, ideology. And they represent ideology of they do not approve the reality of two states. For them, it is a nightmare. And they are fighting in order to create a reality of a Palestinian state, a Muslim Palestinian state, ruled by Sharia from the Jordan to the sea. By the way, most Palestinians do not agree. Most Palestinians are supporting Hamas not because they accept Sharia as a constitution, only because they see Hamas as the only organization who fight to end the occupation, which is probably, this is the way they understand the reality. I don't blame them. But for me, Hamas should be eliminated from all its military capabilities. Later, if they want to play a role as a political party, I cannot dictate to the Palestinians what they should do. But as a military organization, no way.
Before we wrap up, I just want to ask, do you think Israel's actions in Gaza since the October 7 attack could happen again in the future? Sorry, what I'm asking is, do you think Israel's actions have made their community more or less safe? They may have dismantled the bulk of Hamas's military, but have they galvanized an ideology against Israel?
Both. If you ask about the present security, Israel is much more secure than Israel was on the 7th of October. But we should not measure, our achievements by trying to see the present. If we shall not change the course of our actions, our policy, we shall face more violence and more horror, and we shall create more enemies. I used to, when I speak about it with Israeli youngsters, I tell them, look, Hamas is first of all an ideology. We cannot eliminate, we cannot destroy ideology with the use of military power. The only way to destroy Hamas is to present a better ideology, because this will be the only way for all of us to believe in a better future. Unless we do it, if we shall go on killing all Hamas activists on the day after, 2 children that we killed their parents, will do everything in order to achieve a knife and to do everything in order to kill an Israeli. So this is not a better reality for us. Although we had all the military achievement that we can achieve, military power cannot achieve victory in this type of war.
And just finally, if you put yourself in the position of those 2 Palestinian children, can you understand why they might pick up that knife and try and enact revenge?
If I understand, yes, I understand. I do not approve it. I think that we, as much as the Palestinians, we have to understand not all the Palestinians are Hamas, and they have to understand not all the Israelis are Smotrich and Ben Gvir and the extreme right. So unless today this is the opposite, most Palestinians believe that all of us support the Israeli government, and most Israelis believe that all the Palestinians support Hamas, which is totally wrong. And we will be able to see it only if we should present a better political horizon for both people. This is exactly what happened to us when Sadat came to visit Israel, and he spoke to us. He recognized us. This is the only way to change immediately, by the way we understand the reality around us. We Israelis, we do not believe that we have friends. We do not believe that people accept us as a legitimate state in the Middle East. Although in 2002 in Beirut, the Arab League accepted us. Israelis do not understand and do not read what is written in the Arab League peace plan.
It has been a very interesting conversation. I really appreciate your insight. Ami Ayalon, former Shin Bet head in Israel. We appreciate your time here on Counterpoints.
Thank you very much.